Hey guys, we are back. So this last little segment, I went to Home Depot and I got several PVC fittings for my tanks, but a couple of them didn't work. So today, I went to Home Depot, returned those, got some new ones, and we're gonna see if they fit. Shout out to one of the Home Depot workers, Jeff, for helping me out. He was an absolute rock star and knew exactly where everything was and halved my time, if not more, which was great because I was looking the shelves trying to find exactly what I needed, and he was just here, and coming up with ideas for me that I greatly appreciate. So here is what we decided to do. So if you guys recall, what was wrong with my setup before was that my screw top was too big to go in here, but we've completely changed the system. So what we decided on was, even though the half hex tubing fits perfect in here, we couldn't figure out a way to get any male fitting to fit inside my threads. So what we decided to do was go with a 1/2 straight shark bite male fitting, and what's going to happen is we got a let's see, which one is this? This is a 3/8 fitting, and we are going to fit it into the PEX pipe like this. Yep, like this, and I'm going to cut off a certain length that is going to touch the bottom of the tank. And then from there, I'm going to silicone on the inside of this. So imagine this is cut here, silicone here so that it's sturdy, and then this will screw in here. This is my first time fitting this, so I'm really happy it's going well so far. And then we've got the half coming out. Of the shark bite. And then from here we'll probably do another cut depending on where the floor is, and then an elbow to the water pump. The reason we need the 3/8 to the bottom of the tank is because my intake valve is on the top of the tank. So right now there's nothing to be able to touch water in order to suck it up, because I have a vent, and that's going to replace the water that I'm sucking up. But if I don't have almost like a straw at the very bottom of my tank to get the water, it'll just, the tank or the pump will be running and it'll just be getting air, it won't be getting water. So this is how the setup's going to look. Probably cut it after my floor is done, elbow it to the pump. I have not ordered my pump yet, but most of the pumps are 1/2 PEX going into them. So that's why I changed from, I think my previous setup was 3/4, and now I've changed it to 1/2. And this works a lot better than what I had before, so I'm really happy with this setup. And then of course, if you have shark bite, you should have one of these removers, I guess. So the way that works is you put it on your pipe, you push down, at the same time you pull it up from your fitting. Freshwater intake is going to be, I think it's just called pull hose. And then I'll do a metal adjustable clamp, and then all of this minus the intake and minus my wires here, these two will run out. And I am looking to buy a kind of panel so I can attach the hoses to the outside. Okay, let's check out the other fitting. Alright, this is now my gray water outtake. This is intake from the bathroom area, but the fittings that I bought originally, I thought that this was a 2-inch pipe, but it's actually, I believe, 1.25, which means I will probably have to return my 2-inch fittings, which is totally okay, but I hope this fits. So this is just a coupler because I will keep this existing pipe on. Once I get water in it and see if it's leaking, then I can change my mind, but I'm going to clean up this cut, put a coupling on it, and then switch to PVC instead of ABS probably. But let's see if this will fit. Oh yeah. That's awesome. Alright, after another trip to Home Depot, I got some new stuff. Okay, this is 1.5 inches. So this is going to go on there. It's actually a very tight fit. That's going to go on there. And then on here, and then I've got a right angle, and then it's going to continue that way, and then another right angle going that way, and then there is a Y gate that I have added to my cart on Amazon that has a 3 output for the gray tank and a 1.5 output for the black tank, and then for the gray tank. And I'll send a link in the description. If I remember, note to self, send the link in the description. But it's cool because the gates, I was initially looking for the size of gates, and I found one that has a Y already to it, and it's got gates. Obviously it's a bit more expensive than just buying 2 gates and then finding ways to connect to it. But I think that PVC is pretty expensive, actually. So I think buying one with the gates already, hi little girl. This is Kala. Hi baby. She turned 6 months on the 24th. What are you doing? Are you coming in here? Yes. She's my helper today. So I think buying the gates that are already wide is going to save me so much time and energy, and possibly money. Like I said, I'll send the link in the description. The second thing I bought is for the gray water output right here. The previous output actually went inside of the tank instead of on the outside. And I wanted something that goes on the outside of this instead of the inside, because any bump because of the pipe fitting is going to cause blockage and build up. So any way I can limit that, I want to. So this is a 4 to 3 converter, and I think it's going to be the wrong size, which is sad. But yeah, but that is what I'm looking for, is something to go over this. So it might be a 3. So I need something that goes over, something that already goes over a 3, but that is smaller than inside a 4. No, not inside. This goes on the outside of a 4. So maybe if I find something that goes inside a 4-inch pipe, it might be big enough to go over the outside of a 3-inch pipe. Dang. Well, I'm sad this doesn't work because it's freaking expensive. I think this piece itself was 16 bucks. So now I get to return it.
Can you say hi for the camera? Say hello, everybody. My name's Kala. I have 2 huskies. One named Turk and one named Kala, both from the Tarzan. And Turk is actually the mom of Kala. And Kala's already bigger than her mom. Hi, pretty girl. Hi, baby. Say hi, YouTube.
So as you guys can see, this is a 3-inch pipe, and it fits perfect. I bought this 3-inch pipe initially because most toilet fittings are 3-inch. So instead of finding something to go over that, I might just cave and put it inside like how it was originally. But I don't really like it. But I don't see another option. I'll keep looking, but I might just deal with it. Like so. And then of course, this might be right where the Y is. I've got some metal strapping, I guess. That's going to hold this up to the trailer. So all this weight will be taken care of. But the gates have to be probably past here. So I might have quite a bit of tubing, and then the gates might be somewhere here.
Alright, we are going to switch major gears and talk about propane. In order to start my floor, finally, I want to start from the bottom of my trailer up, which means everything below my floor I need to finish almost now, or at least poke through, like my sink drain, so that I can get it through the floor and then work routes to wherever my kitchen sink will be. And that's the same for propane. So what I'm going to do is use a flare tool to flare out the propane, and then I have a nut that screws on right there. Remember, anytime you see like this rounded type of head, right there, rounded type head on the propane, that means it's a compression fitting. And whenever you do compression fittings, you use a flare tool, and you do not, I repeat, you do not use Teflon tape when it's a compression fitting. Okay? Now, this fitting right here, that would absolutely use either solder or Teflon tape. I don't think they even used anything here, honestly, but it's so freaking old. No, I haven't tested these lines yet. I plan to when I obviously get my appliances in. Or maybe I'll blow out the line before I even do that. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is use my wire brush here, I'll show you later, sorry, and clean out some of these seams. So in order to get a good seal, these have to be cleaned out so that the tape on this side will work, but so that the nut and compression fitting on this side will work. So there's a lot of gunk in there that I will try to clean up. Okay. See how shiny that is? Let me find my glasses. These turned out so good. Now you can see the threads, as far as I could get, are clean. That's going to be a lot easier to tape. Look in here. This one turned out great. Much better. Like I said before, when you are messing with propane and you see the rounded end, that means it's a compression fitting, and you have to flare your copper and then get a nut and just do it that way with no tape. But when it's a screw in like this, see how it's not rounded? You use Teflon tape. And the way you add the tape on is to go with the way you were turning. So we're going to stick it in here and turn that way. So I'm going to put on my tape that way. So the way I'm going to do my propane, like I said before, I just want my propane to go straight up through the floor. So instead of having it towards that way or this way, I'm going to just have this fitting straight up. Okay, now it's time to do the other side of propane. The compression fittings, I don't know if you noticed, it went from a bigger pipe to a way smaller fitting. So that was probably 1/2-inch piping to a 3/8 compression fitting. So I have copper coil 3/8, 20 feet of it. Refrigeration. What you need to look for is make sure you have LP gas. The cool thing about this brand, I guess, is that it has your directions right here. It says 4 flare fitting. Fit nut on tube. Flare the tube using the flaring tool. Hand tighten nut onto fitting. Wrench tight nut onto fitting. It doesn't say anything about Teflon tape, so do not use it. So I've got some grease, which brings me to a great interlude, I guess. Check out my other video if you want to put on trailer brakes, because that's where my grease came from, was I had to repack the bearings. The bearing tool I'm going to use, I actually got from Ace Hardware, because the one at Home Depot was way more expensive. And this is relatively the same thing. This is just a little bit more low-tech, I believe. You know what I hate is when you need tools to take out your tool.
If you agree with me and you hate using knives and scissors for packaging, give me a thumbs up in the video. So what we are going to do is find your measurement on your flaring tool. This is 3/8, so we're going to use 3/8 right here. So the flaring tool, how it works. You're going to find your 3/8, which is this one for me. And before you flare it, make sure you put on your flare nut. Because once you flare it, say I flared this end right here without the orange cap. I flared this end, but I didn't put my cap on. The cap is not going to fit on the flare anymore. So I would have to put my nut all the way through here to get it to where I need it, which is a very bad mistake. So straighten it out and put on your flaring nut. These are short rod flare nuts. And I've already taken this out and test fitted it on the fittings out there, and it definitely does fit. So the way this flaring nut works is the part that is threaded is going to be the one that threads into your male end of your fittings. And if you look inside of here, you'll see that there's like a little lip smooth area that kind of looks like a cone. And that's how the flare fits in. So once this is on, my flaring tool, I'm going to loosen it. Put my 3/8 in. Right about there. So, tighten it. And this has directions on the back. Loosen tubing nuts on flaring tool and separate bars. Check. Insert tubing into proper sized hole, 3/8 is what we are, and close the flaring bars. Do not tighten wing nuts securely until tubing end is slightly above the top surface of the flaring bar, approximately 1/8. So I'm actually going to fix that because I'm flush with it. Barely out of it. And then I'm going to retighten this. Okay, next step. Slip yoke onto flaring tool bar, then position yoke over end of tool. Okay, so untwist this. Okay, over that, and then I'm going to position the tip of that cone. So position the tip of this cone to where my piping is. Okay, now I am in the middle of my copper, and then I'm going to twist. Turn yoke handle to flare tube end. A flare is complete when yoke handle cannot be turned anymore. Do not over tighten. Loosen the yoke handle, remove yoke from bars, and loosen both wing nuts before attempting to remove tubing. Okay, so right here, I'm in my copper tubing, and then I'm just going to crank on it. Start next. And then the one furthest from your hole. Then I'm taking a crescent wrench and tighten the wing nuts a little bit more even. Okay. and take the yolk.
Okay, I just wanted to show you guys how the flare ended up. Now, I have learned that you want to make sure that your flare is thick. Because if it is skinny and you crank on the nut, it will actually break off shards of the copper into your pipe. So you want to make sure that it is nice and thick. Ooh, right there. Okay, this is an example of a flare that is too skinny. Okay, sorry, I was adjusting. You can tell, like, that's not anywhere close to as thick as the one I showed you guys. So what happens is, when this is too skinny, the copper is super easy to break off. And the way you can tell your flare is too skinny is when the nut is on it and it's on your main line. If you wiggle your propane and you see that your space between your nut and your copper wire is also wiggling, then it's not good. Or if you feel like you can't move your propane line once it's in the fitting, like bending it, because you're afraid like it's going to twist, that means your flare is way too skinny and you don't have enough contact in order to get a good connection. Okay, I think I figured it out. But before I show you guys that, I'm going to cut my second piece, and I figured y'all might want to see that again, so we'll give this another go. Continue my line. This is a very rough 5 feet, so it's just, if it's not perfect, so be it, that's fine. So line it up, tighten it a little bit, and then make sure that it's on or in between the 2 rollers. And then I'm going to tighten it a little bit more because that took a while. And then roll. I've seen people do this super fast, but I am not an expert, so. So I'm kind of tightening while I'm going, making sure I'm not crushing the tubing and I'm actually cutting it. And there it is. Bada bing. Okay, I wanted to show a good and bad flare side by side. As you can see, how skinny the bottom one is compared to the top one. And this is flared. Right there. It is flared, you can see, but it's so thin that, as you can see, part of the flare has broken off, so it doesn't even look like a flare anymore. But right there, the flare is still good, but right there it isn't. So that means that it just isn't thick enough. Whereas this one, you can tell, like, it is thick flare. That is what you want, not this. And like I said before, it is all about the way how you cut the pipe. The directions say to tighten it enough so that it doesn't cave in, but I think that was the make or break, to be honest. So I tightened it as much as I could hand tighten it, went around 2 times, hand tightened it as much as I could again, and it just is so good. And you can tell it's concave because of this. Let's see, right there. You can tell on the inside, you see how it's pushed in a bit? Like, it doesn't look like it's coming straight. It looks like it's coming in a bit right on the corner there. That is what you are looking for, and that's how you get a flare like that. Or at least that's how I have found that you get a flare like that. So the trick to putting this on, for me anyways, is putting it on, and then as you hand tighten it, you really have to push down hard on the nut. So loosen, push down hard, then even go loosen. There we go. So I'm pulling up on the propane to get my flare out of the way, but I'm pushing down on the nut. There we go. So right now my propane is loose, which means I'm not tight. But as I tighten it, I'm going to feel my propane either start to spin or get tight, or probably both. Okay. And as you can tell, no more wiggle on my propane.